It was almost midnight when I pulled over. I'd just wrapped a local live show, the kind where the applause still hums in your chest hours after. My voice was hoarse, my mind electric, but the road home stretched long and silent. There's a particular kind of exhaustion that comes from hosting, from standing in front of strangers who cheer and laugh at your words, and then walking away knowing none of it will matter tomorrow. That fatigue somehow left my nerves both awake and raw, tingling like static electricity along my arms and neck. The fog pressed against the windshield like a living thing, curling around the streetlights and swallowing the moonlight until the world outside the car looked bruised, flattened into shadows that might move if you blinked. Even the crickets had gone quiet, the kind of quiet that doesn't feel peaceful. Waiting, patiently waiting. I took Route 27, the back road I often drove when I wanted to feel the night stretch endlessly. Houses were rare. The occasional fence post, all the markers you had for distance. Tonight, it felt different. The darkness had weight. The fog seemed to pulse with it, like something just out of reach, hovering in the periphery of my vision. Then, out of nowhere, a flickering neon sign appeared through the mist. Rest stop, coffee, fuel, open 24 hours. It looked wrong. Not just aged, but like a memory someone had forgotten to erase. Behind it, a squat cinder block building crouched in the fog. Pale gray, wet with condensation. The walls sweating with the night air, a chunk of the past, washed up in the middle of nowhere. The parking lot was nearly empty. 2 cars sat silently. A maroon sedan, windows fogged over, and a battered white van, the rear doors sealed with tape. Both coated in dew, both perfectly still. I parked a little distance away, my tires crunching faintly on wet asphalt, and checked my phone. 3 bars, 12:07 a.m., enough to grab caffeine and keep moving. Inside, the air hit me like a basement in January. Cold, damp, stale. It carried a hint of wet cardboard and a metallic tang, like pennies rubbed into moldy concrete. My skin prickled as I stepped over the threshold, boots clinking softly against linoleum, the interior familiar. Vending machines humming faintly, racks of pamphlets curling in the corners, benches bolted to the floor, but the people weren't right. A kid in a puffer jacket, frozen on a handheld console, thumbs suspended over buttons. A woman in hospital scrubs, holding a paper coffee cup so tightly I thought her knuckles might shatter. And a man slumped in a corner, arms crossed, posture collapsed, as though he'd given up on holding himself upright decades ago. None of them moved. None even glanced my way. Behind the bulletproof glass of the counter, the clerk stood, or something. I couldn't tell their age, their gender. Could not tell if they belonged here. Their name tag read simply, "Hello, my name is." No name, just that. I asked for coffee. No words came, just the click of a button, and a battered thermos dropped into the slot. Their eyes stayed fixed on mine, unblinking, unyielding. I slid coins across. They didn't acknowledge them. I took the cup, inhaled. It smelled like pennies and burnt toast, a taste that lingered in my memory long after it left my tongue. The coffee was paradoxical, freezing in my mouth, scalding down my throat. I lingered near the vending machines. The lights flickered, buzzing like trapped insects. And then the posters on the walls caught my eye. Missing persons, dozens of them. Faces of men, women, kids, staring out from curled paper edges. The names, scrawled or typed, whispered over the fluorescent hum. One face stood out. A girl I recognized from high school. Same chipped tooth, same careless smile. She had gone missing in 2019. I touched the photo. The paper was wet, cold, slick. My finger came away trembling. Everything inside me screamed to leave. I did. Outside, the fog had thickened, curling around the lot, swallowing the building whole. My breath hitched, clouding the windshield. The GPS on my phone blinked red. Recalculating. The map flattened. A static void, as though the road had never existed. I tried to convince myself it was fatigue, adrenaline, overthinking. But my hands shook on the steering wheel anyway. I drove, heart hammering. Curiosity gnawed at me. I glanced in the rearview mirror. The rest stop was gone. No lights, no structure, nothing, just fog. I laughed, brittle, nervous. Maybe I'd imagined it. Maybe it was deja vu, a loop my mind had trapped me in while overtired. But the photograph lingered in my mind. The girl's face, the clerk's unblinking eyes. Something had followed me from that place. Home felt like salvation. I locked the door, kicked off my shoes, poured out the remaining coffee. It hit the sink like oil, thick, dark, leaving a reddish smear. I scrubbed my hands until they were raw. It did nothing. Hours later, lying in bed, I tried to laugh it off. I told myself I'd make it into a story for my next show. The haunted gas station. I even began jotting notes. And then my phone buzzed. A photo appeared in my gallery. I hadn't taken it. It was me, standing at the rest stop, coffee cup in hand, time-stamped August 3rd, 2019. I deleted it. It came back, deleted it again, gone. Sleep didn't come easily. The apartment creaked in the usual ways. Pipes, wind, old wood settling. But something about the silence between those noises felt too aware, like the building itself was listening. Then I saw it. A flicker in the hallway mirror. I froze. My reflection remained still. But behind it, something moved. A shadow. Faint, featureless, leaning just close enough that I could feel its breath on my neck. I didn't turn. move, didn't breathe for what felt like an eternity. I stared. Slowly, I closed my eyes. When I opened them again, it was gone. But the feeling remained. That invisible weight pressing against my back, lingering, patient, waiting, somewhere in the quiet of my home. I knew I wasn't truly alone. And maybe that's the scariest part. That you can never really leave some things behind. That's it for tonight's story, everyone. I'm Nyra Blackwood. And if that gave you chills, hit subscribe so you never miss a tale like this. Follow me on Instagram for behind-the-scenes peeks and spooky updates. If you dare. Keep your curiosity sharp and your doors locked.